Yo, what up, Street Talks? Eric Kim. All right, another thought. Why do we try to predict the future? So, it seems we try to predict the future because of fear or maybe the desire for profit. So, for example, like people who are, people like myself who are betting on crypto, our hope is as time goes on and the world becomes more chaotic, these things will rise. Or I think there's a lot of people who want to predict the future in terms of like, oh, how much longer are you going to have to live under quarantine with this corona or whatever? Because when people have a definite exit game, people could, plan and rearrange their lives in such a way that allows them to do that. But the problem is, nobody, no matter how intelligent they are, could predict the future. So, there's some basic things we know which is evident. So let's say if you went to a casino and you always bet 100% of your money on red every single time, and you went to the casino every single day for 10 years in a row, obviously you're gonna sooner or later go bust. Like that's like kind of this mathematical, statistical, certainty. However, in terms of things like what's going to happen in terms of the world's weather or economics or germs, diseases, human death, innovations, blah, blah. All these things are unknowns. Now, I'm starting to wonder, some people like unknowns and some people don't like unknowns. And maybe that's what separates human beings. Whether you decide to appreciate the unknowns and if you delight in unknowns or if you hate the unknown. So what's the difference? I think part of it is like the culture in which you're raised, right? Because a lot of cultures strive towards safety and stability. So for example, like Asian Confucian culture is all about like having a steady job, having a stable job, and steadiness is kind of the goal. Whereas I think kind of the American mentality is we're more like risk loving, we're about kind of grandeur, we're kind of like conquerors, explorers, and maybe even like we think about like the ancient Spanish, like Cortez and stuff like that. Their goal was to seek to discover new things, new lands, new things, and to conquer and conquest and whatever it may be. So certainly there's something in our human DNA which we like to, we're kind of greedy for new opportunities and new things, and I think that's a good thing. So for example, if we humans were too easily contented, we'd all still probably be in a cave somewhere just munching on acorns. But fortunately, we humans, we're ambitious enough now. We got the internet, we got like self-driving cars, we got Tesla, whatever. And so it seems that in life, maybe this greedy principle or this desire for more and this desire for the uncertainty and the unknown could be actually a good thing, because a life with 100% predictability and stability and knowingness of the future, I think is kind of a boring one. And actually it tends to be a fetter on our freedom or our ability to do things, because we always think, okay, I want to do X, Y, and Z, but I cannot because of X, Y, and Z. So, I want to start traveling, but I don't have enough money. I want to make art, but I don't have enough free time. And it seems like right now is actually the optimal situation for you to thrive as an artist. So thriving kind of as a digital artist. So you could make photographs, you can make videos, you can make beats on GarageBand, you could use iMovie, you could use Procreate on your iPad or iPhone, you could get into like 3D modeling, pick up an Oculus Rift or Oculus Quest, the VR thingy, start using the Google Tilt Brush, making 3D animations or 3D sculptures in virtual reality. You can use your phone, do augmented reality, Minecraft, whatever it may be, right? And so, like for me in life, one of my biggest passions is potentiality and possibilities, because I hate it in life that people always telling you cannot do this and that because of X, Y, and Z. And it generally comes down to like, a sense of classism, like you're not rich enough, or it becomes like kind of this like capitalism, consumerism thing, is that like you're not allowed to do that until you graduate or until you make a bunch of money or until you retire. And nothing is certain, because anyone right now who had like even a 5-year plan, nobody could have predicted this black swan event of this coronavirus thing happening and totally upending all of our life plans. And actually, so this has become the new high watermark, and Taleb talks about this, but he calls it the Lucretius fallacy. So, you know, the Roman poet, philosopher Lucretius says, the fool thinks that the tallest mountain in the world is the one he has already climbed. So right now, you know, the world's kind of in chaos and it's kind of not good. But now we think, okay, this is the worst that will happen. You know, let us just kind of wait patiently until this all dies down, things go back to the way they were. But I think the wake-up call is things will never go back to the way they were. And also, who knows, maybe even things could get worse. Like, even one thing that I'm surprised about is, I'm surprised that actually there's not more like looting and pillaging and kind of more danger in the streets. Like, you know, I don't know, depending on where you live. Like, if I was poor and really desperate and I had no money or food, whatever, yeah, I would definitely, like, you know, it wouldn't be totally out of the question for somebody in that situation to like rob or steal or whatever, loot. Even if you think about like what happened during Hurricane Katrina, people was so desperate that they did that. And anyways, so I don't want to be a fear monger where it's like thinking about all this crazy worse shit that could happen, but still I think it's a little bit naive for us to think that things will go back to the way they used to be and things will become more predictable, stable, and safe, whatever. I actually think that things will become more difficult, more hard, and who knows, it might be a good thing is that now that we're kind of in a state of war against the virus, the future is very uncertain, and that uncertainty and that learning to adapt or thrive with that chaos, which is life, might make us stronger. So I would say don't trust nobody who makes any positive forecast of the future saying, oh, you know, we'll go back to normal in 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, a year, 2 years, whatever it may be. I would just say be a pessimist and expect the worst. Imagine that things will be 5 times worse as people say it is. Like, you know, right now the projections I'm hearing is like, oh, you know, we'll be back to normal in like 3 or 4 months or so. I'm like, dude, I'm thinking like 4 to 5 years. And even if I'm wrong, I think it's better to make a really pessimistic judgment of the future, and then if it's not that bad, you're like, phew, it's not that bad. Or, you know, if it is that bad, you're like, okay, I prepared for this. But know that the future is uncertain, the future is unpredictable, and rather than thinking about how you could predict the future and make it better to think about how you could steel yourself to prepare for the worst. And realizing that also humans were incredibly resilient. Like, even if you think about, you know, the Vietnam War, like, how is it that the Vietnamese were able to win? They just pretty much outstubborned the Americans. And realizing that, you know, we humans, we could subsist on very little as long as we got like food and water and we don't die of the cold. You know, we're pretty resilient. Like Taleb says, we're quite anti-fragile. Anything which threatens to destroy us but doesn't destroy us actually in fact does make us stronger. And so know that uncertainty, chaos is the rule of life, and actually that's what makes life so sweet.